basically how he got sold into slavery. I wanted to talk about how his brothers, I felt like they overreacted. Like I don't know if they were just so sinful or because this is after they were supposed to return. Sorry, I feel like I just heard fireworks or something. I'm just like, what's going on? There's no holidays.
Yes,
anyway,
it is. It's my birthday. Sorry.
Oh yeah, the brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's give a little backstory here. Joseph has his coat of many colors,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he was kind of annoying. He's probably like that annoying little brother that's just like, bro, you always talking, get out of here. So he goes to find his brothers. For what reason, I do not know. I don't know if his dad sent him to go find them,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
so he goes to go find them. I don't know why Jacob sent him to go find them. They don't like him. So
Yeah.
when he's far off, they see him and they're like, "Ooh, here comes Joseph. When he gets over here, we should kill him." Like that's
That's
drastic. Like
extra.
you go
Like,
kill him, not like let's beat him up or let's tease him.
that's a lot
But
of resentment.
you are saying you're going to kill him, which is, I mean, it's going to hurt him because he's dead now, and it's going to hurt your dad. So you have some resentment against your dad because of the favoritism and maybe how he treats your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you
Cause
think?
cause they didn't really like Rachel either.
Yeah, nobody liked Rachel because she was getting the favoritism.
Yeah. And so
And we
like
don't
the
know
kids
how
knew.
bad Jacob was really treating his wives and children.
Right.
He might have been a bad dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like
It does seem like that for sure because I don't want to jump too far ahead, but even like how he dealt with all of them, like when he died, was ridiculous. But
he read them
um,
to filth.
he did. But something that I noticed, and I was like cracking a joke about it, but I had to look it up, and I felt kind of bad. Um, so when okay, Leah, was it Reuben that came?
That did what?
That brought Leah mandrakes, and Rachel was like, "Yo, can I have some of your mandrakes?" And Leah was like, "You already have my husband. Now you trying to get some mandrakes?" And she was like, "Please, you can sleep with him if I can have your mandrakes." And then like she
Yeah, but
sleeps
I
with him
don't
and gets
remember which
pregnant.
son it was.
I don't either. And yeah, sorry. The way it's written, like I have favoritism towards Joseph. Like that's how bad Jacob's favorite. Like I'm
You're like,
sorry.
I
I don't
even
know.
like Jacob. I mean, Joseph.
I don't know what any of the other sons like. I don't know who they are.
I feel like he was really nice. I think that he was just an annoying little brother. I think they really took it too far, but it was all in a big, grander plan, obviously.
Yeah.
But I
But we
feel
do
like
okay.
he
We
was
can
kind
tell
of
though.
tattletale and all that.
Yeah, we can tell though that Joseph was kind of dramatic
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah,
because
for sure.
like the way he handled his brothers when they came, like obviously it's been like a decade or so. Like it's been a while that he's been like in Egypt or whatever since he's seen his brothers. So I understand you having an emotional response, but this whole roundabout like
Doing the
um
most, sending them
the
back and
absolute
forth.
most, like
It's
you're in
too
a
much.
great spot. Like you should be thanking them. You're in a great spot. Like I don't
I
understand.
did think this time around, I said, Joseph does have a little bit of drama to him because even he was doing, he was kind of he was acting like he didn't know them. He was putting on a great performance.
He's
And
the whole
then
interpreter so that they didn't know he spoke Hebrew.
look,
The
and
most.
then like when they weren't looking, he was weeping. So like weeping is like sobbing. Like it's not like a cry. It's like I am so emotional. So he was like an emotional person. I
Yeah.
did notice that. I was like, "Oh, he's really emotional." But I thought he was
Drama.
really his character though overall. I don't know if the slavery humbled him. Um, so audience, at this moment now, we talked about the brothers um looking at him from afar off and they want to kill him. Newsflash or surprise, they end up selling him into slavery to I want to say to some Ishmaelites, which is funny because
Right.
Ishmaelites are like their what is that? Like their great
Cousins.
uncle
Great.
people.
Yeah.
Is that an
Yeah.
uncle?
Mhm.
Great uncle? Yes, I think so. I might. Is
I
Abraham
think
their
it's
grandfather?
closer. It might be
Abraham.
closer because Esau married a daughter from the Ishmael, like Ishmael's line.
It's a
Um,
lot of mix ups,
it,
but
it's a lot.
he got sold into slavery. So now he's in slavery. But I feel like once he was in slavery, he excelled to a pretty good position because um, you can tell in the story that God's hand never left him. Now he got thrown into
Mhm.
slavery. I mean, think about this. They planning to kill you, but one of your brothers is like, no, let's not kill him. Let's just throw him in the pit. And I believe that was Reuben. Now, I don't know what Reuben's plan was. Well, he was going to go back to the pit to get him. But
Mhm.
once he got back to the pit to get him and he returned to camp with his brothers, what was he going to tell his brothers? Oh, I found him. Like, what was the plan there?
Not, oh,
So,
I found him.
yeah, I don't,
They
I
probably would
don't
have
know.
picked Reuben up and put him in the pit with Joseph. Like,
I was
why'd you
really
take
thinking that. I
him
was
out?
like, what was his plan? Like, to let him just go, like, run away? Like, who knows? They don't put that part in there. But, dang, what part was I on? Oh, so they sold him in slavery. Now he's pretty humble, kind of. He's rising to success, still in slavery, but he's like over the whole household. He's like
Mhm.
the butler or something.
Yeah. Oh, so okay,
What was he
he's
like?
the he's the servant to the guard, like Potiphar's like head of guard.
Yeah, he was still a servant, but
Not
he
Potiphar's
wasn't
head of
like,
guard, but Pharaoh's head of guard,
yeah. So
which
Potiphar.
is Potiphar.
Yeah, so
Yes.
he worked for Potiphar as a slave, but Potiphar regards him in a really high
Hmm.
way because even he can tell that God is with him. Ain't
Yes.
that crazy? I love that.
And I don't,
Like,
so as we're talking, it's like I don't think that Joseph was prideful before. I think
mhm,
Joseph was full of zeal before. So
yeah,
like zeal without wisdom is just a whole bunch of chaos. And I feel like
yeah.
that
And
um
zealous people are annoying sometimes. You love them, but they're
yeah.
annoying. You're like, bruh,
Yeah,
relax.
because there's a time and place, and like if you're overzealous, there's just I'm gonna do this all the time. Like right now, there's no wisdom or tact when it comes to timing,
Hmm.
and I do think that him being in slavery taught him timing. Um, and taught him, I mean, the importance of timing because he always had this administrative anointing. So like him using this anointing of administration and overseeing was annoying in the wrong place. Like if it was like him using that on his brothers was annoying, but him doing that in regards to, you know, Potiphar's estate is wise and astute and, you know, like very on purpose because it has a place. Like if he would, the way he would tell his dreams and all this kind of stuff, like he had a good heart.
Hmm.
But him being like overly excited and
The timing.
overzealous to you to yeah to just be administrative basically,
Yeah.
because that was just something that came naturally to him. It was often displaced.
Yeah, because
That's
speaking
all.
of like say his dreams and stuff, he didn't really have to tell his brothers about that
Mm-mm.
dream. He really could have kept it to himself. And it still
Yeah.
would have been true. He didn't have to tell it for down the line for them. Well, I don't know. I feel like they were jealous of him anyway. That
Mhm.
dream made them more angry. So when
Yeah.
they saw him, they wanted to do harm to him. But I feel like you don't have to tell everybody what's going on all the time. You don't have to
Mhm.
tell people, what dreams you're having or what God said to you unless God said to say it to other people.
Right.
And
Right.
sometimes it's okay to be quiet
Mhm.
because it you don't know what kind of resentment and stuff you're stirring up. And now they're sinning or they're in their sin because they're angry people. And yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, all about timing. I like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
But his administrative gift, like we kind of downplay that in the church or just in life in general, like someone being able um to be organized enough to administrate things seems to be like the bottom of the totem pole. Like any clerical work is like entry level, but there's such an anointing and a gift for administration that people often look over, and it's those people who have that administrative gift who are able to see into the future in the sense of to like to set things up for it, like Joseph was able to do. um he understood that his gift of interpreting dreams wasn't just because he was like a cool person. Like it wasn't just because he was a good person or because he was anything special. Like they were like, Joseph, like interpret my dreams. And he's like, only God can interpret dreams. It's like, okay, cool, bro. But like, what did God say? You know?
Yeah.
Um, oh, and also I wrote this note down, like, God will start to talk to unbelievers to set you up to fulfill his purposes. The fact that Pharaoh listened or like acknowledged the fact that God gave him a dream. Like he acknowledged the importance of his dream, and when he took it to his magicians, they couldn't understand it. So obviously there was something beyond his magicians. And so him understanding authority and understanding power was like, well, something is more powerful than my magicians if they don't know.
Yeah, and the gods that we worship,
Right.
you know.
So it's like that doesn't mean I'm a believer now, but
Yeah.
I understand authority.
I mean, you believe something because
Right.
you got the dream. So Pharaoh got a dream two times,
Mhm.
and the dreams were kind of similar, but they were different. So he knew they bothered him so much, and he knew that since he had them twice, that he's like, okay, somebody got to come tell me something. The gravity of the dream shook him so much that he was like, there's something more. He didn't just write it off as like I had a crazy dream because like
Right.
I dream literally every night. Sometimes I have recurring ones. Sometimes they're just super wild. Like I've had dreams since I was a kid, and I wish somebody would interpret them sometimes. Sometimes I go
Same.
to sleep and I pray before I go to sleep because I'm like, I know I'm going to dream. I'm like, God, just give me, I need to know what it means when I wake up because
Mm.
it's just too much. But um Joseph also let him know that it meant something. He's the one who said that the interpretation of dreams is for God only. I thought that was
Mhm.
awesome. I was
Yeah.
like, nobody, no psychic, no medium can tell me nothing about my dreams because that's for God alone. I'm thinking God speaks to us through our dreams. I think so.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm not God. Joseph said that since it was given twice, that it was definitely from God
Yeah.
because God will. I read this in the commentary too that was like a preview of like he sent it twice, right?
Mhm.
And then he shared it with Joseph, and they said that this pointed to, and I forgot what the verse is, but it's like let there be like two or three witnesses to
Mm.
something,
Mhm.
to an interpretation or whatever.
Mhm.
They said that was like a foreshadowing to that.
Mm. That's cool.
So it's like his dream. He had the dream twice. They were still pretty different. One had the sickly cows and the fat cows,
Mhm.
and one had the healthy wheat and the shriveled wheat. But still, the same thing happened in both of the
Right.
dreams. The bigger cows and the bigger wheat was swallowed up by the scrawny ones.
Mhm.
So yeah, yeah,
And the fact that Joseph was like, so you need to appoint a very trustworthy person to do this very thing very specifically and put this in a very specific place. Like, if they didn't turn around and be like, so you like
yeah. But he's
that
so
would be
humble that
so
he was
dumb.
like, I don't really need like he's just giving advice. He's not even looking
Yeah.
for the job. He's probably thinking I'm going back to prison
Right.
because
Yeah.
he was still in prison at this point. Um, we skipped the fact that the only reason Pharaoh knew that Joseph could even interpret dreams because he interpreted some fellow prisoners' dreams while he was in jail. He was just still in jail because the what was it the cupbearer forgot to tell Pharaoh about him when he got
Mhm.
out until later when he finally did. Um,
Timing.
yeah, I mean people forget about you when they get back in position
They
sometimes.
do, but
They do.
it's like we always hear for such a time as this, and as it pertains to Esther, but every single thing that happened in Joseph's life was so timely.
Mhm.
Because if the baker, I mean not the baker, if the cupbearer remembered Joseph and was like, Pharaoh, 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 there's a dude in jail right now who interprets dreams, but Pharaoh hadn't had a dream yet, it wouldn't mean anything to him.
Exactly.
So it's like if he would have gotten that information too early, it would have been written off. And so
And he
hearing it
might not
again
even
when he needs
remembered
it,
him at the
yeah,
time.
it's not
Yeah.
even gonna matter by the time he actually needs it, because it's already been written off. And so it's like Pharaoh needed to hear Joseph's name at that specific point,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
his
there
whole
was still,
story is
like, God was
basically
still doing
calculated.
something.
Yeah, his whole story is like
Yeah.
extremely calculated to the point where it's like you even go back to the beginning and like if he was never even sold into slavery,
Mhm.
he couldn't have did all the things that he did that
Mhm.
eventually impacted his family and
Yeah,
like
like
his whole country.
he told his brothers, cuz his brothers, well, okay, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, we can
Um
fast forward. I
so
mean, we're pretty we're past prison, so and we did the
yeah.
dream interpretation. So now he's rising to power.
Yes, so he is now second in command to all of Egypt. No one has um more power than him other than Pharaoh. And so now, he's built up all the grains or whatever and stored up all the 1/5 of the harvest for the 7 years, and then now we're in the famine years. And this is giving Abraham again, because there was also a famine in Canaan when that had like gone through Egypt or whatever, and also hit Canaan when Abram went to Egypt the first time and ended up like lying to Pharaoh or whatever, saying that Sarah was his sister, and then they brought back Hagar. So it's
Yeah.
giving a lot of that. Because Jacob's like, okay, if we don't go to Egypt to get grain, we're gonna die out here. God
But
sent
it
y'all
was
out here.
true though.
Yes, and it was true when Abram said it.
Yeah, that's true.
It was true when Abram said it, but it's like how can I say this? The fact that Joseph was already in Egypt before the famine is like the ram in the bush, where it's
Mm.
like God set this up for y'all to have sustenance during this famine. If Joseph was never sold into slavery, like you were saying, there would be nobody to save Egypt or the surrounding cities, including Canaan. Um, and so when his brothers showed up, because Jacob sent the brothers to go and get grain, go to buy grain from Egypt. um he, recognized the brothers. He was like mad dramatic and was like, go get your younger brother and whatever. And Jacob's the drama. I mean, Joseph is the drama.
I
um
like him though. He likes to
he's a
party too.
Yeah, he's a very heart feeling person. Like, everything is so
Mhm.
intense for him.
The baby is
um
like that though in families. If you notice, sometimes the baby is the one that
Feels everything.
they have their feelings. Either
Yeah.
that or they're heartless. They're like no in between.
Yeah, there's no in between. You're right. um Oh, but like after the whole debacle with his brothers or whatever, and the brothers were finally apologetic, like, oh, like Joseph reveals himself as his brother, and the brothers was like, oh, I'm so sorry, like we shouldn't have done that, like it caused our dad so much harm, and da 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 da. And Joseph was like, don't apologize, like it wasn't even you that sold me into slavery, like God put me here to save y'all.
Yeah, he
And
said, "What you meant for evil, God turned it to good," and that
yep.
I mean, that applies to everybody's life.
Hmm.
Just so that is just so amazing that whatever happens, God can turn it around to for your benefit. The things that were supposed to tear you down, literal slavery, literal bondage, literal all that. You could put that in a metaphor, the bondage that you've been in.
Hmm.
When you come to God, it could be used for his glory. That
Yeah.
is amazing.
And that's like the beautiful character arc of Joseph here, because
Mhm.
at the beginning, like when his brothers were selling him and he was realizing that his brothers just sold him into slavery, he's like, why did you do this to me? Like, why are you doing this to me? Save me. Why are you doing this to me? And now on the flip side, after all of this stuff has happened, he's able to look at them and be like, it wasn't even y'all. Like, this was God's
Yeah.
plan all along. If this had never happened, then we would not have grain. Like, and all of us would be dead. So so
Yeah.
this was on purpose. And also that made me think, like, I know in last episode I was trying to figure out how to say, like, both good and evil are in the hands of God, but not necessarily evil, but even what we perceive as bad.
Right. It's being everything's
So
being set up.
yeah, like we only see how something affects us. We don't see into the future of how it's going to affect other things. And so it may look to us as a bad situation, but if it wasn't for that situation, something down the line where it can be perceived as a blessing, or an easily perceiving blessing down the line, would have never occurred if this perceivably bad situation didn't happen. So there's a verse in Matthew where it's like talking about all the stuff that happened to Mary, um like leading up to Jesus's birth, and like Joseph rejecting her, and like wanting to like divorce her quietly, and God, all that kind of stuff, how she had to go away for a while, and all that kind of stuff. And then there's a verse that says, and all of these took place so that Jesus Christ could be born, basically.
Yeah.
um and it's like, yeah, all of these things took place. If one of these things did not take place, Jesus would not be born. All of these things took place so that Jesus could be born. So
Yeah.
the
God was
story that we
preserving his
live
plan the whole time.
the whole time, the lives that we live, there is nothing by accident. There is nothing that takes God by surprise. Everything is orchestrated, and what we perceive as bad is even good in our situation. It's not going to feel good, obviously, and I don't want to downplay that, because a lot of things that have happened in my life still don't make sense to me, but I do believe and have faith that there was a reason.
Yeah.
um Not saying that God did this to me, because again, there's perception issue here. It's not the fact that whether or not God did good or God did bad, it's how we perceive what God did. God is only good. So we take things that feel bad and attribute them to Satan, when Satan doesn't even have that kind of power in our lives to do these things. You see what I'm saying?
I
Like,
think that,
huh?
I think you cut out a little bit when you said Satan. What did you say about
Oh.
Satan? Say it again.
Oh, yeah, we attribute the bad stuff that we go through to Satan, when
Hmm.
Satan doesn't even have the power in and of himself to produce these things in our lives. They
Right.
have to be allowed. And
I
so it's not like God is like, "Oh, I'm going to do this to her to teach her a lesson." Like, no. That's not how God works. And what we perceive as bad isn't always bad for us. That was my point.
Yeah. I also read too, and that goes back to my like God has a plan, and I feel like even when, say if Satan was throwing some like rocks or whatever into the plan, he could twist it back to where it's always Jesus was the goal the whole time. So God had to allow Joseph to be sold into slavery and to get to Egypt to preserve this family. This family, there's many families on the earth at this time, but this family is chosen because he is going to bring Jesus back through this family, through this
Mhm.
specific family. Other families are blessed, but this family is going to bring the Messiah. So, no, I can't let Joseph stay here and y'all die. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a plan for Joseph to be somewhere where he's going to have a lot of authority. Yes, God probably could have just rained, I don't know, manna down or whatever. He could just zap the bread down to them if he wanted
Yeah.
to, but that wasn't what he wanted to do. He wanted to, at the end of the day, show himself to so many people. Like,
Mhm.
if he had done it the way he did it, even Pharaoh wouldn't have known who God was. Even Potiphar and Pharaoh both was like, even the prison warden knew
Mhm.
that God was with Joseph. He knew, like, they just had a feeling. These are not believers. This is like in our own life where maybe people will be like, I just don't know what it is about you. Maybe they don't really know what it is,
Yep.
but they know you're a Christian. They know they just see like your life is just like, even when you're going through stuff, they're just like, what is going, they're always so peaceful for some reason. They're always um just doing like, your character shows when
Mhm.
God is with you. It's
Yeah.
not like Joseph wasn't in there giving sermons. He wasn't in there preaching. He wasn't, he was just being himself
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
letting God work through him, and giving all the glory to God. When he was interpreting dreams, he didn't say it was him. He didn't say, yeah, I'm the man, I'm the dream interpreter. He was like, I would not be able to do this if it wasn't God. God is the one speaking through me. Don't give me any credit. Please don't give me any credit. And I like that. That's a
Yeah.
good way to be.
It is. It is. Um. Listen.
Are we still on Joseph? Well, you say he revealed himself to his brothers.
Yeah.
After he revealed himself to his brothers and they did the whole back and forth situation, he finally tells, they all have a good time. They weep. They have a party. They actually get drunk. It says that in the Bible that they get drunk, you know. So then they go to
It
get
was
their
going off.
dad. Yeah, I mean, I don't, they
Turn
I've
it.
seen a few parties in the Bible. They used to party a
Mhm.
little bit.
Oh yeah. The wedding
So
feast was a week. They
yeah,
was drinking for a week straight.
that wine too, that good wine.
Mhm.
Hmm.